Welcome back to the Field of 68's Offseason Grades series. And Jeff, today we get to talk about your honorary favorite team, the Indiana Hoosiers. Jeff, I've gotten to know you a little bit over the last few years, and I just love when your eyes light up when you talk about Mike Woodson and Hoosier basketball. And Jeff, this offseason has been different for the Hoosiers, I would say. Some very new faces with a lot of talent are in. And one of the best players the program has seen in a very long time is out. That would be Trayce Jackson-Davis, Golden State Warriors' own TJD. Jalen Hood-Schifino is also gone after a great one-and-done season, but they also lost some vets in Race Thompson, Miller Kopp and his Twitter threads, Jordan Geronimo, Tamar Bates. Coming back, not too many names here, Jeff. Malik Reneau, Trey Galloway, Xavier Johnson is back after being shut down at the end of last season. And then new faces, kel'el Ware, a very high-rated recruit that had an iffy year at Oregon last year. Mackenzie Mgbako is now a Hoosier after making a decision very recently. Peyton Sparks and Gabe Cupps are also in. What do you make of this?
I mean, it's a completely revamped team. And while I like the accumulation of talent here, and man, they're a little bit fortunate they got Xavier Johnson back, right? He got the waiver after playing in 11 games. He put like 9 minutes too many, but he got the waiver. I'm glad to see the NCAA making the right decision there and giving him another year. I don't know. Like, I think time will tell whether this team – I'm all about roster construction, Greg.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if I love the roster construction because I'm also all about shooting. And if you don't have enough perimeter shooting, I think you're going to be in trouble when it matters most, which is the NCAA tournament. I think Indiana's going to win enough games this year in the regular season. They'll be good enough. But I think sometimes I say this, and it's not like I'm taking a shot at Mike Woodson. I'm just saying, like, sometimes I think Mike Woodson is still coaching like he's back in, like, the 80s or 90s. Instead of moving forward with the way basketball has, adapted here. He's not adapting with the game a little bit. And we'll see. I mean, maybe Malik Reneau will be a guy who could step out and shoot threes, or kel'el Ware will be that way. But again, looking at their roster right now, and don't try to tell me like Trey Galloway is going to shoot 45% from three again, because I don't think he will. I think he was a beneficiary of a lot of uncontested threes because of Trayce, because of Jalen, because of Race Top. Like, there were a lot of guys there. I don't know. Like, I don't know what to think about him. But again, and I was the guy who said a year and a half ago, I thought Mackenzie Mgbako was arguably maybe the number one player in the country at that point, coming out of the summer. Now, he'd fallen off last year a little bit. I just Mgbako, Ware, to me, I don't know if they fit together with Reneau on the front line. Like, those three guys just don't. I don't think Mgbako is a 3. I think he's a 4. And I don't know who can guard a 3, and I don't know who can step out. I think, the court's going to be a little clogged. And if X isn't making shots and Galloway kind of goes back to what he was, which is an average three-point shooter, I don't know, man. Like, again, they'll win games, but I don't know if they'll do anything in the tournament.
Yeah, I think they'll win games partially because they're in the Big Ten, or as I affectionately call it, the Little 10 over the last year and a half.
Well, that's because your Michigan Wolverines are as little as it gets in the Little 10 right now.
We are doing our best to make it easy on the rest of the conference, Jeff. Okay. But I look at this roster, I step back and I just feel like I'm looking at like a 2008 Detroit Pistons roster that had like Josh Smith, Greg Monroe, and Andre Drummond on it together. Like, it was gross, and it was talented, but it was gross. And I don't know. I'm trying to find what
they're not plotting. Listen, I'll push back a little bit on what you said and what I said. They're not plotting bigs, okay? Yeah. They're versatile bigs in a way, but can any of them step out and legitimately be a threat to space the court as kind of, face up 4s or 5s? They haven't shown that yet.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the nice thing, if I want to play optimist for Indiana fans, I think the nice thing is all three of them think they can do that. I just don't know if I'm confident they actually can.
Right.
Mgbako is huge. That was a big ad, especially late in the cycle, right? Because this team needed an inflection of talent. He's one of the most talented players that made a decision to play college basketball somewhere since last season has ended to now. I just really don't like what is there on paper for this backcourt. And I kind of kept waiting, like the weeks were going by in the offseason into June, and I'm like, isn't Indiana just going to get some veteran guards somewhere that I really trust? And it never really happened. And it feels like they're risking everything. Not that this team ever was like going to be a top 5 team, because it's impossible to replace TJD and Hood-Schifino and stay super relevant, right? But like it feels like they're risking whatever next season's going to be on Xavier Johnson. And that is not a risk I would want to make at all after him coming off an extended stretch of not playing. And quite frankly, the way he looked before he went down last season. Is that fair?
Yeah. I mean, listen, he can be erratic. There's no doubt about it. But he's also old now. He's old now. You know, is he thinking it's his team? Well, it is in the backcourt. It is his team. He's going to have the ball in his hands more than anybody else. So like his upside is there. We know that when he played well 2 years ago in the Big Ten tournament and the NCAA tournament, they were pretty good, especially in the Big Ten tournament when they went that run. So I think if he plays at a high level, and he's the X factor, like he is the X factor, because if he doesn't play well, they're in trouble, and he's got to play well, scoring the ball and keeping everybody happy. He's got some mouths to feed on this team. And trust me, those dudes, they're all playing for the NBA. All three of those big guys are thinking right now they're going into the season as first-round picks. Yeah. So, like, that's hard to keep all those dudes happy when X is also thinking he's playing for a pro, whatever it is, whether it's a chance to play in the NBA, whether it's overseas, whether it's a two-way, whatever it is. That's a lot of dudes right now that are going to be hungry for their numbers.
Yeah. Can I bet the under on how many first round picks there are here? Can we talk to our friends at Bet Rivers and figure that out?
Going zero?
I think I'm going zero. And I know kel'el Ware is very highly ranked on a lot of those boards right now. I don't really see that yet, to be honest. I'd like to see him have a good season.
I don't either.
In college.
I'm with you. Gets there. I didn't see it in AU. I haven't seen it at Oregon yet. And yeah, I mean, listen, the one thing I'll say, and we got to give Mike Woodson a ton of credit for, is how Trace developed, right, under him. Like, look at what he did for – now, Trace was putting up numbers the year before. It wasn't like he went from, like, nothing to the second-best player in college basketball. But, man, his development and how hard he played consistently and his passing ability, like, that staff did a really good job with Trace. Can they do similar things with some of these other bigs, especially Ware, who has a little bit of a knock of maybe not playing hard consistently, kind of like Trace did. But, you know, Trace, I think his approach was a little more professional, maybe going into even last year, where kel'el, like, yeah, he needs to grow up. He's been told how good he was for a couple of years, and he really hadn't done a whole lot to warrant that.
Yeah. All right. So let's move to expectations. I alluded to it. The Big Ten has been down, which if you step back, like, I get I'm a Big Ten guy, but it's kind of wild that we're talking about how down this conference is when Purdue was what they were last year and they're back. Like, it's a little crazy to try to square those two things, but it's true. What's your expectation for Indiana? Are they a tournament team on paper? Can they exceed beyond that?
Yeah, they're a tournament team. I mean, listen, to me, I would say if this team finishes in the top 4 or 5 in the Big Ten and gets 2 wins in March, that's a really good season. Really good season. I don't see any real way that I guess if Xavier Johnson gets hurt again, could they be an NIT team? Maybe, but I'll tell you what, like, I don't think Gabe Cupps is ready by any means physically, but man, like, he knows how to play. Like, with all that talent out there, actually, I wonder if you could see a scenario where you're playing Cupps and X together and letting X just go score, shoot the ball score the ball, Cups with 4 dudes around him that can score the ball. I don't know. I kind of wouldn't mind seeing that for a few minutes. But again, I don't know if Cups is ready physically yet.
Yeah, that's one of the things I want to keep my eye on, especially early in the season, because if that's the sell, I like that infinitely more than we're going to let X rock with all these dudes in the front court who also think they're first round picks.
Yeah, I think you start with X and see how it goes, see how he's able to balance scoring and distributing. But I think you got a guy in Cups that if everybody else is showing they can score, yeah, like, you know, you got some versatility. The kid, Ja'Kai Newton, was a top 100 player coming off the bench. I think Caleb Banks showed promise at times last year. He should get more minutes. Again, roster construction is like, you can accumulate talent all you want, but if you don't have the right pieces, I don't care how much talent you have.
Yep. Yeah, the puzzle has to fit together. We've seen that time and time again. All right, let's give them an official grade. What is the Jeff Goodman grade for Indiana basketball's offseason?
You know, they got talent to be relevant. You know, that's a key, right? They got kel'el Ware, they got Mgbako. Those were two huge ones. You know, Peyton Sparks, we haven't talked about him. He'll be great off the bench, coming from Ball State, where he put up like 19 a game. Like Anthony Walker will be great as your like 5th big. Like, they actually did a good job there, but they did. Like, Anthony Walker's he's been a part of, you know, a team that's won a lot of games over the last year and done something in the NCAA tournament 2 years in a row. So I kind of like that as a piece, as a program guy. You know, I'll give him, I think I'll give him a B+. I think I can give him a B+ and feel pretty good about it, because again, you're still relevant, Greg. Like, you lost a ton. You lost a lottery pick and the second best player in college basketball. Maybe not a lottery pick. Jalen was just outside of it at like 17, the Lakers, whatever it was. But you're still nationally relevant for the second straight year at Indiana basketball. That hasn't happened in a while.
Yeah, I don't know how long they're going to be nationally relevant for. I'm sorry. I know I'm going to get a lot of pushback and people are going to come all over me for this. I despise that. But I give this a C, and I could go lower on this, to be honest, but I'm going to give Mike Woodson the credit that if you just made a list, if you forgot about how basketball actually looks on the floor, if you just made a list of the most talented guys in this conference that were additions in this offseason, they've got 2 of the most talented, maybe the 2 most talented in this conference. It's hard for me to give it a much lower grade than a C, given that. But like you said, I don't see how this fits whatsoever. I don't think they solved anything in the backcourt. If this was just a thing where every single night you were going to play your 5 best big men against another school, they'd probably win every single night. But outside of that, I really think there's disaster potential with this roster. I know you spoke to, hey, this is a tournament team. I don't know that I'd go that far. I think they're going to have a chance. I think they're on the bubble. But I think if there's
Check out the rest of the Little 10. Check out the rest of the Little 10.
If there's one team I'm set, because they're in that little middle, right? With like Wisconsin, with Maryland, with Ohio State. I'd buy all 3 of the other teams over this Indiana roster on paper. And we'll see if I'm right. We'll see if I'm wrong.
Listen, I just hope, I'm just praying that my daughter's professors in Bloomington aren't as tough at grading her as you were on the Indiana Hoosiers.
Hey, I'm tough, and I think that's my highest Big Ten grade I've given out this offseason so far. We'll see. All right, thanks for watching this. If you want all of our offseason grade videos, they are on the Field of 68 YouTube channel. We've got about 40 of these that we are working our way through. For Jeff Goodman, my name is Greg Waddell, and we will see you next time.
Our partner for today's episode is Athletic Greens. I started taking AG1 during the college basketball season, and I loved the impact that it had on my energy levels. I'm a big coffee in the morning guy, but by the time that the afternoon would hit, I needed another boost. AG1 helped me tremendously, especially on those days when I didn't want to get up off the couch and go hit the gym. Their tagline is AG1 is comprehensive health and the power of habit in one. And man, that could not be more True. It's nearly impossible to eat and drink in a healthy manner in the month of February and the month of March when you are in my business. And AG1 was exactly the supplement that I needed to improve my gut health and cover my nutritional basis for the day. I've continued that into April. I've continued that into May, and I'm going to continue that the rest of the summer. All I have to do is mix a scoop of AG1 with some water, or maybe add it into a smoothie, and I'm ready to go. Do it after lunch, and you'll be ready to go for the rest of the day. If a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine, then Athletic Greens is giving you a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. Go to athleticgreens.com/field68. That's field 68 FIELD, the number 6, the number 8, and you can get yours now. So check it out and help support this show. Thanks.